Once ago, in the magical land of Nornwan, before the necromancers' reign, before the legend of Orikinia, and long before slavery was banned from the continent, there was a girl, a human, small and shy. She lived a simple life, one of eating, working, sleeping, learning, and growing. No one would have wished her fate upon her, but such is the whims of destiny, and hers was a destiny to be told. Pinokeehatay was her name. The village folk called her Pinny. VON-der-mond, a sweet and pure Nord village, is where our story unfolds. Besieged by the plague, many fall. Hope is scarce. A man lost his wife. His daughter soon follows. He implores the strength and wisdom of the nature spawn. He needs his daughter to be cured by any means necessary, even the sacrifice of his own life. The spirit nature spawn, in its limitless grace, bound the child's soul to a wooden body. Pinokeehatay was born once more. Now she is a magical miracle child. She is strong, feels no pain, and requires no food, only water, clean air, and the power of the sun itself. She happily dedicates her help during the uncertain time of plague. Then, a fateful red sun rises above the hills. Destiny shapes the future on this day. The village is raided. Those that do not submit are slain. As the people are seized, the raiders find that Pinny cannot be harmed by their torture methods, and thus she would not be tamed so easily. She was carted off to the city slave markets in Paraguay Hills, a larger city under the protection of the early Knights faction. There are many in the realm of wonder with special traits. Some are robots, others are beings of sugar and fluff, and more still are fairy. She is not bought for her abundance of strength, nor her inability to feel pain. No, she is bought for her appearance. Her blessed magical body is quickly bought by a wealthy family of entertainment officials. The heads of the family were convinced that her appearance would be a true wonder to behold on the stage. Pinny is educated in the arts of painting, acting, and dancing. The master and mistress of the wealthy castle taught her everything. After an ever so brief training term, she found her every moment occupied with the stage. Each night she would be painted, dressed, and thrust onto the stage. She would dance alongside actors and puppets alike. Pinny was a slave to the lights and her stage and her audience. She was their living doll and puppet of fantastic ability, the plaything of the imagination. And when the show lights would dim, she would be locked in a tower of the high castle. It was her new home. The day was all she had to rest and dream. Often in her days of slumber, her thoughts drifted to her father, and she wondered of his fate. She would look out at the wondrous city and wonder what her audience was doing. Then came the moon and the night, and she danced until sunrise. Home was a distant dream, calling to her, its familiar, humble beauty echoing out to her. In the night, her body and soul was not her own. She was not important, only her character, and she was many characters, princesses, heroines, peasants. The stage was indeed where she belonged. Winter fell and melted. More nights came, along with new audiences. Many had come to see the little wooden dancer. Years passed. Pinny did not age, but her fellow performers did. Many had moved on, retired, some died. The master's son grew to age, and it was his duty as eldest child to take over his family's business. He was but a child when his parents had bought Pinny from the slave markets. Periwinkle was his name. The young master had watched Pinny for all his life, and taken a fancy to her. He took her hand in marriage. It was common enough that a slave owner might marry their property, but nonetheless he kept their union a secret. From then onward, the girl of wood was in less shows. She was the private plaything of her new master. He would create portraits of her excellence and use magical and alchemical means to study her body so that he may also have immortality. The cage is in our minds, not just over our body. The cage can be inability, ignorance, apathy. Some of us have a cage due to circumstances outside of our control, like physical injury, people, events. We all have shackles that bind us, that make us what we are, but we cannot allow it to define who we are. Then, one night, during a show, there was a violent interruption. Bandits had somehow snuck into the walls, causing a riot, destroying many people and things. And then half of the Lord Periwinkle's guard turned traitor. Fire was set, chains broken, and many gods slain. The only thing missing was a dragon. A raging knight stole Pinny. They rode off into the blackness of night. The captor revealed himself to be none other than Pinny's father. The truth was spoken in that cold, bloody night. No farmer was he, but a former hero. Their village was not raided by chance, but for revenge. For many of their number had he slew in his life. He tried to leave his sword and glory days behind. He tried to live his remaining years in peace. But death follows the warrior, always. And when he escaped the torture of the bandit camps, he vowed to find his little girl. He had spent years searching and planning her release from the Periwinkle house. Just as his dreaded name was said, the Lord Periwinkle did appear, with many a soldier in tow, but it is unknown what happened then. History is not well kept in Nornwan. It is known by most that Periwinkle did continue his reign for many years, and that Pinny and her father were never seen again. Though, if a happy ending is indeed needed, one could say that the forest did shelter the young girl and her father. The power of nature spawn can be thanked in this dire case. Perhaps Pinny and her father lived in the forest for the rest of their lives. Periwinkle, for once, did not win, and was forced to move on. Perhaps the ending is a happy one, in which case they did indeed live happily ever after.